Hey, brother, what's up? How is everything and how is your fasting going?
What's up, Harsh? Everything's going well. The fasting thing, that's pretty normal. It's just the water and the coffee thing that's getting to me.
Yeah, this podcast, we're gonna keep it short, maybe like an hour or so, because Arman can't drink water. And speaking a lot is gonna dry out his mouth and he's gonna like swear at me tomorrow. So,
Screw you, Harsh. Why'd you do that for?
so let's not
Around,
ask Arman too many questions today.
yeah, around this time, Harsh, there are people that start to reevaluate their relationship with coffee. Some people, they're like, man, it just made me appreciate coffee even more. Other people, they're like, man, after this entire fasting period and all the withdrawals that I was going through, I'm never going to drink coffee again. Which situation do you think you'd be in?
The second, I'll tell you why, okay?
Mhm.
So after I got married, right, instead of making my own coffee, my wife was making coffee for me. And it turns out she was like fucking me over in a way where she was giving me less and less coffee every day. So, like earlier, I would have like two sachets of coffee. So it became like one and a half. Then it became one. Then it became like half. Then it became
Mm.
a quarter. And now I'm like, wait, this coffee is really weak. And then she's like, yeah, there's barely any coffee in it. And it turns out I just like no longer need coffee, right? I've gotten over it, and now I tried having two sachets of coffee recently before a big leg workout,
Yeah.
and I felt like I was gonna have a heart attack. Like my heart was like boom, boom, boom. Like I had those
Really?
palpitations and I couldn't sleep well. So yeah, I don't drink coffee anymore. Like if I do, it's gonna be like half a sachet or something, and it's not frequent. Maybe like once a week.
What about pre-workout?
I have never had pre-workout except once where I had like one scoop of pre-workout and I'm not even joking. I didn't sleep for like 2 days and my heart like I could literally feel those heart palpitations. Like it was just a very anxiety inducing, not a good time. I have no idea how people take lots of pre-workout.
Not lots, but I need a scoop. If I don't have a scoop right before a workout, then I won't go as hard.
I don't know, man. You see, maybe it's because I have never trained with pre-workout. I'm used to training without pre-workouts, or maybe I don't know what I'm missing out on. Either or.
Man, so you don't drink coffee pre-workout before a workout and you don't listen to music either.
Lately, in the current city I'm in, I've joined a gym where they play like loud music. So it's not optional. You have to listen to music. They're playing it so loud.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't drink coffee except like sometimes if I have like a big, if I'm gonna like max out on squats or something, then I need the caffeine to help me.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no. I will
I would
have bananas before workout. That really helps. Like two bananas before workout, it's like really, really good.
Bananas do help, but something about the pre-workout, I get excited for it. I don't know if I could have stuck with the gym for so many years if I never had pre-workout in the equation as well.
What is pre-workout exactly? It's mostly just stimulants, right? Like just caffeine and a bunch of other stimulants, nothing else.
Yeah, I think there's 150 milligrams of caffeine in it. The one that I use is C4. And it's just a tradition, man. I mean, I will take it 30 minutes before the workout, one scoop, drink that, wait for it to digest. As it's digesting, I start getting ready for my workout. And it's this ritual that I appreciate. And when I'm running low on C4, I would say, oh man, I don't know if I want to work out today. And I don't know if this is healthy, by the way. Maybe I am addicted to the C4 feeling right before working out, but it's been working. I mean, it's one of those things that I don't question too much. I don't necessarily know if it's a good habit or a bad habit, but it works for me. And that's why I just stick with it.
Hmm.
With the coffee part, though, I have tried in the past to quit coffee, but it wasn't something that I noticed the effects of too much. It just felt as though I was missing something in life. This time around, after the entire fasting thing, it's making me appreciate coffee more. Whether it's the caffeine pill format or I actually use the coffee maker that I bought recently, it makes me appreciate it. I give you props for not drinking it, but I think coffee adds this different color to life.
So I know what you're talking about, right? I used to like drink coffee for years and years. Back when I was in consulting, I would have like 3 cups of coffee a day.
Hmm.
The only thing I can say is that if you're drinking it every day, you just become used to it to the point where you're not performing any better than someone who never drinks coffee. You just take your coffee to perform at your baseline because you are tolerating it now. Are you getting me? So when you
Yeah.
have coffee for the first time, like now, right? Like earlier, I used to have 2 sachets of coffee. Now, if I have like a half sachet of coffee, I'm gonna be like super awake. Okay. But if I have a half sachet of coffee every day for 2 weeks, then it won't do anything for me, and I will need like 1 sachet of coffee, right? Just to like be normal. Now, to get the feeling again. Now, eventually, I'm gonna get used to 1 sachet of coffee. But what happens if I stop taking that 1 sachet of coffee? Then for a cup, for like a couple of weeks, I'm gonna feel like shit. I wouldn't be able to perform like I perform now without the coffee, right? It's gonna take my body some time to get used to. So you're appreciating being normal. And right now you're performing below normal because you tolerate a lot of caffeine. Like you've built up that tolerance. So once that tolerance weans off, you will feel really good without the coffee. Like you will feel as if you took your coffee without having to take the coffee. And then the coffee will help you, even a small amount of coffee will help you perform better than average. But you do it every day, then you start tolerating it. So personally, I think that coffee is a good thing if you don't take it every day. If you like take it twice a week, then those 2 days would be like better than normal performance. But if you take it every day, then all the days would be normal performance. So nothing is improving.
Yeah, and eventually the more that you take, the more that you need, and it's this loop. That's why I cut it off at 400 milligrams. I won't go over that because that's when I start to actually get groggy from coffee, and I can't sleep properly either. But 400 milligrams is the max I'll go in a day. You are right though. When I don't drink coffee for a while, next week when Ramadan everything's over, and I'm drinking coffee now, it's gonna hit way more. It
Okay,
takes a
so I'm
while for my
having so one packet of instant coffee, just for reference, has like 62.8 milligrams of caffeine. So 400 by 62.8. So your cutoff is
before.
like six and a half packets of coke. Yeah, that's
Oh,
a lot,
it
man.
is.
Six and a half is a lot.
It is. It is. I'm not gonna lie about that. It's one of my vices.
Have you do you only consume caffeine in oh wait. I think I said something wrong before. So I don't have coffee, but I do have these diet cokes, right? Which like, the Pepsi Black, things like that, which
Hmm.
has some amount of caffeine in it. So that's like 30 milligrams, I think. Yes, I'll have like maybe one or two diet, Pepsi Blacks or like a diet Coke or something. So I am getting 30 to 60, milligrams of caffeine per day. So which equates to about like a cup of maybe a cup of coffee. So
Well,
yeah,
you drink a couple of those per day, right?
yeah, one or two. Typically, I've been drinking this thing called Sprite Zero, which doesn't have caffeine. Um, for the simple reason, I'm just trying to like get rid of all of the caffeine, so I can only use it when I need it.
Hmm.
But yeah, if I have the Pepsi Black, it has caffeine in it.
Pepsi Black, Coke Black. You like the taste of it though?
I love that shit, man. That thing tastes so good and it has 0 calories. So I'm
Mm.
a huge fan, man. Whoever came up with this idea deserves like an award. Like Nobel Prize to the founder.
The thing that I've been hooked on recently is mango lassi. Have you tried that before?
Oh yeah, man. I like that stuff. The only problem is that I'm lactose intolerant now, so
Are
I
you?
can't have it. I wasn't, right? So until last year, I could have like half a liter to a liter of milk without any problems. But then suddenly, sometime around May, sorry, not even May, like before, like April last year, I
Hmm.
started noticing that every time I ate, like my stomach would just like start going crazy. And that thing kept on like getting worse and worse. And so I started this elimination diet where, okay, I'm going to cut this out, cut that out. And then I found out that every time I'm consuming dairy, my stomach is getting upset. And that's how I discovered I'm lactose intolerant, or I'm getting lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
And over the last year, it's worsened and worsened and worsened. So when I noticed it for the first time, right, I could have like a half, like I could have some milk products, and it won't bother it. But if I had a lot, like it would like trigger it. But now if I even if I have like a little bit of milk products, then it starts to like bother it.
Mm,
So it's getting worse over time. There's nothing I can do about it except take these lactase enzyme pills with my
okay.
milk products. It's called Yamu. Not bad, but it's something you have to take. It's not something. It doesn't work all the time. So it works best with these liquidy milk products, like you have like cake or something, right? And it has
Mhm.
milk in it. That's gonna dissolve well with it. But you have some kind of hard milk product, like paneer, it will not dissolve well with it, and it will like fuck up your stomach. So I had like some of this Amul high protein paneer, okay,
Yeah.
of like 2-3 months ago. Like I had like 200 grams of it, and I took like 2-3 pills of this lactase, and I think I spent like 3 or 4 days just like going to the washroom, coming back, and it just
Mm.
like fucked me up. Like not advisable.
What about with protein shakes?
So if I have regular whey protein, that triggers it. But if I have whey protein isolate, a whey protein isolate has almost no lactose, so I don't have any reactions to it.
Mm. What's your thoughts about that? Are you a big proponent of getting your protein from protein shakes, or are you more so about focusing on food, or do you do a little bit of both?
So it's like this, right? If you're a vegetarian or like a vegan or something, then you need to have some protein shakes, right?
Hmm.
But if you're eating meat, then you can get all of your protein from meat. Like if you have chicken breast, right? You can get like 200 grams of protein a day from like chicken breast easily. But you should still, if you want to be like, you want to optimize everything, then you can definitely have some whey protein right after your workout, because it just dissolves in the system faster, right? It's absorbed faster, and your
Yeah.
body needs these fast absorbing protein that are like very anabolic right after the workout. So you get slightly better results if you have protein, whey protein right after a workout than if you were eating say chicken right after a workout. But
Hmm.
it's not like a very big difference. It doesn't actually matter that much. It's more about convenience, right? Like after I train, I'm like, I'm gonna have like 2 scoops of whey, right? I don't want to go and sit and eat a meal after like a leg workout. I want to like drink something and relax.
You just want to drink something. You just want your body to absorb it. I know exactly what you're talking about. For some reason, though, with protein shakes, after I'm done drinking it, it makes my stomach feel shaky.
Try the lactose free ones, right? It could be the same thing,
Hmm.
because whey protein concentrate has a ton of lactose in it.
I see.
So you could try this. You could try the isolate and see if you have the same effect. Like with isolate, I have no problems whatsoever.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll try that out. Yeah, I mean,
See, go on.
well, we're at that age where we need to experiment a lot with our bodies because you're about to hit 30s, and that's when you'll start to notice that what worked for you in your 20s, need to start changing certain things up. So you're probably gonna start noticing other stuff like this whole lactose thing. Because I don't recall you having that before.
I had no problems with lactose before. I'm telling you, this is like karma hitting me back, because I used to have a friend who's lactose intolerant, and I used to mock him. Like I used to call him disabled. Like it's a disability, right? Hey, look, I can have pizza and you can't, you fag. Like
It must be hard being a vegetarian and you can't, or
I'm
a
not a
vegan, you
vegetarian
can't drink
anymore.
milk.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
If you're a vegan, right, you don't eat milk anyway. Vegans don't eat milk, right? They're too
Hmm.
gay for milk. But
No eggs
vegetarians,
there.
yeah, you need to like stop being a vegetarian. Yeah. If you are like lactose intolerant,
Hmm.
you cannot be a vegetarian, or you will like become a vegan, and that's like worse than death.
Yeah. In the US, recently, there's been more of a push for healthy fast food options. So there's places like Kava. There's another place like Sprouts where you could get organic groceries. It's just been more of a push as of late. Where in 2005s, I would say McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, those places reigned supreme. Nowadays, you go to a KFC around here, it's a ghost town. People don't go there. People go more to these healthy food options, which it's tricky because it's a lot more expensive. But then again, fast food here is expensive. It's one of those
Dude,
things where do you guys have Applebee's, Red Lobsters, that
no,
sort of stuff?
no.
These aren't fancy restaurants, but these are, you could say, restaurants. And recently there was a study that said that You could go to a place like Applebee's, get burgers and fries cheaper than McDonald's. And that goes to show you that McDonald's isn't fast food anymore with fast food prices. It's starting to get into the premium territory where it confuses you. Before I could get something for a dollar, $2. Nowadays, if I'm ordering a couple of burgers and fries, I'm spending over 25 to 30 bucks. Or if I go to a place like Red Lobster or Applebee's, I could get better quality, but for cheaper.
So things have changed, right? Like I don't know how it's in your memory, but when I was a kid, right, McDonald's was targeted to children. Like children would want to eat at McDonald's, and all the seats would be like, appealing to kids. The
Mhm.
restaurant itself would look like, it would like the kid would want to go there.
Yeah, with
There
the
would be all these
playground.
characters and like, this, what's the statues
Ro-
of these like
yeah, Ronald
characters,
McDonald.
different toys, and they would like give you a toy with your meat and shit like that, and they will advertise what toys are being available like on a counter window, like this is the toy that's coming with the meal now.
Yeah.
And today I recently went to a McDonald's like a few weeks back, I think like 2 weeks ago, right? And they don't do anything of that sort anymore. It's like a place for adults. All the chairs and the tables are boring normal restaurant type tables. Nothing fancy for kids. They don't advertise the toys that are being given out. So it's more like a place for adults now. They're marketing to adults. Earlier it used to be like for children. Like now the restaurant itself, it looks like, like a normal office building. It doesn't look like a McDonald's. Like earlier McDonald's building, you could tell by looking at a building
Yeah.
that this is a McDonald's building.
It's sort of McDonald's is at the stage where it's marketing to guys like us, where in our 90s, we were children. So we remember McDonald's being a children's place. But for the new generation of kids born in 2000s, they probably had no clue that McDonald's used to be for kids. So when a guy like me and you, we go into McDonald's, it automatically taps into our nostalgia. We're like, wait a minute, we used to get those Mighty Kids meals from here, and we have those children like activity memories awakened, but the new generation doesn't.
Yeah, I'm just googling this right now. One sec, let me show you something, and this will like you will relate to this. One sec.
It was smart when they used to market to kids.
Do you see this? Like earlier McDonald's used to look like this everywhere, and now it
Yeah.
looks like this everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they have practical reasons for this, right? Like this building, like if they want to switch locations, very easy to sell, very easy to rent out to someone else. Once they make this, right, they have to break it down if they close, because no one wants to rent out this weird roof. And are you getting me, right? Like this is easy to
Right.
repurpose, but at the same time, right, like things have changed so much. I remember these characters used to be there, this purple
Me
thing. I
too.
don't, I don't know what it's called.
The Cookie Monster. I remember that. I remember the McDonald's that I went to had a playground as well. Chuck E. Cheese. Remember that? McDonald's is so different now. The food is still the same, but
McDonald's
eh,
is very different. It's just like it's like a whole different restaurant now. Like the food itself is different. It's no longer like geared to children.
yeah, it's expensive. Do you guys have a thing called Five Guys over there?
No.
Man, Five Guys, you try to get a burger, fries, and a shake, you'll be leaving spending 35 bucks. Too expensive, man. And
Wait,
people will
for,
say,
for
well,
one person?
yeah, it's
Dude, that's insane.
it's
I can get like a
expensive.
premium burger from a premium place for 35 bucks.
But people will say, oh man, bro, it's the quality. The quality is really good. That's why Five Guys is worth it. The quality isn't that good where you have to spend that much money. Fast food restaurants are in a weird position right now where there's no such thing as dollar menus anymore. Everything's in that 10 to $14 territory. The cheat code is if you go to a place like Walmart and you get the deli food from there, they have a lot of these prepackaged foods for 5 bucks that it's heated up and they'll just sell that. But if you're trying to go to one of these fast food restaurants, way too expensive nowadays, man.
See, it's like this where costs are rising exponentially, right? Like the wages are increasing, everything is like becoming more and more expensive because the government keeps debasing the currency.
Hmm.
So at some point, they have to raise prices, right? I'll tell you what. So the burger I typically would eat at McDonald's was like it's called Mac Aloo Tikki. I don't know you don't have it in the US, right? Mac Aloo Tikki.
No, we don't.
And
That
a
sounds
Mac
good
Aloo
though.
Tikki, yeah, it's tasty, right? When I was a kid, right, it used to cost like 20 rupees. Okay,
Hmm.
and you guess how much it costs now?
Mm, 100.
It costs about 60 rupees now. But
Hmm.
but I'll tell you what, it's still cheaper than inflation. Like the price increase is still lower than inflation. So it sounds way more expensive than it was, but it is still, cheaper than inflation because the prices of other things have increased faster than the price of aloo tikki. So they have tried to keep it like reasonable, but it's not their fault, right? They have to stay in business. They have all these costs, and McDonald's is one of those places where you have like a clean washroom and things like that, right? Like you have
Yeah,
certain standards you expect from them there, and they have to meet that. So they can't be like a ultra cheap place anymore. It's not
they
their
can.
fault. I mean, they really try hard.
It's a supply chain issue where they're trying to keep prices the same, but suddenly buns are more expensive, more expensive, potatoes are more expensive, and now McDonald's has to raise their price.
Yeah, it's not like they're gonna like magically make meat out of nowhere. I
Mm,
will say that I'm not fully certain if the meat in fast food is like real meat.
yeah. And if you're one of these guys that goes to fast food a lot, you should download the apps because the apps gives you royalty points, and the more that you spend money with the apps, the more discounts that you get. And I would say that's our version of getting somewhat of a deal in fast food for our generation. But if you're just buying the items raw, you're not getting any deals, and eventually you start to think, should I cook at home instead? For a while, dude, I even cooking at home instead, it's not that much cheaper than eating out nowadays.
Dude, do you cook yourself or does your wife cook for you?
She cooks for me, but I will sometimes cook for myself as well.
So are you guys still eating the air fried chicken or have you changed or not?
I mean,
Has she
she
complained yet?
yeah, she has. She actually does like the air fryer, but she knows how to cook, and she enjoys it. Where for me, cooking is a chore. For her, it's an art form. So she likes to cook.
So you're not eating air fryer foods anymore once a day.
I still do that. I still
Do
do
you
that
still eat
occasionally.
only once a day, like other than Ramadan?
I do. That's why Ramadan, the food part, has never bothered me. What bothers me is the water and the coffee part. I still eat once a day. And honestly, man, I'm telling you, you gotta try the air fryer. It's a game changer.
Dude, I have a wife. I don't need to do all this stuff. I can have her cook for me.
Does she like cooking for you?
Oh yeah, she loves cooking for me.
Yeah, it's a way for wives to give back to their husbands. Do you normally drive? Do you normally, is there certain things that you have to take the lead on in your relationship?
Um, Not particularly. Like, so if it's some kind of productive work related endeavor, then I have to like, like let's do this. Let's
Hmm.
get this done, right? But things like driving, like I will typically like, I don't. I like driving, but there's so much traffic in the city I live in. And if the chauffeur isn't around, I'm like, you drive. I'm not gonna drive. I'm
Oh, okay.
sitting here.
Let me ask you another one. What about hosting? Do you guys invite people to your place a lot?
No,
Do you ever do that?
I never do that. No.
Really? Your wife doesn't wanna do that either?
No, man. Like it just here's the thing, right? Like it's just really annoying where you have to like make sure all the food and everything is ready. Just something we never do. If we have to meet somebody, we're gonna call them at a restaurant. Just
Dude,
like you wash more utensils, like it just adds to shit. Like
you're preaching to the choir right now, but what you're saying is considered weird here. Because if you, let's say, own a house and you never invite people over and host them, then they're going to think you're trying to hide something. If you're always trying to meet at a restaurant, they're going to think you're a little weird. So last week we had our first iftar party and we invited people to our house. And for me, I don't really like hosting. I don't like the entire process of dressing up, getting food ready, entertaining people for too long. I would rather go to their place or I go to a restaurant like you said. But here, you're considered weird if you don't ever host, especially if you have a spot. It's something that's expected of you once you hit 30. Two things that are more expected of you in your 30s is every now and then you're going to treat someone to a meal, and every now and then you're going to host people at your place. I'm
See,
surprised your
treating
wife
people
doesn't
to a
like to do it
meal,
either.
that I will do like frequently. That's fine by me, right? Like
Hmm.
a client or like an employee or anybody, like a friend comes up, I'm happy to treat you to a meal. If a
Yeah.
friend is like showing up, you might come to my house for like 30 minutes, we'll talk, but we're gonna go and eat outside. We're not gonna eat at my house. It just like, so the problem is that it takes your wife out of the equation also, right? Like you wanna introduce your wife to people, but she's busy like making the meal for you all, and it just
Yeah.
adds to her work. It's not worth it. Like my and you have family at home in India. It's like it that adds a factor to everything.
This is where money comes into play for these hosting events, where we went to a couple of different iftar parties. Iftar is what you eat when you break your fast during Ramadan. We went to a
Mhm.
couple of those iftar parties, and there was this one couple that would cook all the food. And they had so much food in these parties. And then eventually the wife would say, I spent the last 2 days cooking. I had to take off work just so I could focus on cooking. I thought, okay, that's pretty noble. I mean, you put in a lot of effort for this party. Now, when it was our time to host Harsh, I told my wife, look, we're not going to be cooking all this food. All right. What we're going to be doing is catering. Now, catering, it's not cheap. We had to spend roughly $250 for all the food, but we got all of our time back. But this other couple, them spending $250 is a little too much. Where if you cater, then your wife is still in the equation. She could keep entertaining. All she's responsible for is serving the food. But if you don't cater and you have to cook everything, then yes, your wife is out of the equation.
Yeah, and that's not nice, right? It's not good. In the sense, see, it's not like I have anything against women cooking. I
Hmm.
just think that where she's just out of the equation, they miss out on a lot of learning opportunities where, they don't get to catch up with your friends, they don't actually get to form the bonds. And like if you have an employee over, then she would not be around to like listen to whatever he wants to talk about, like what grievances he have, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So not great, to be honest.
Well, for
um
you, dude, you have maids. Your wife wouldn't be cooking it anyways.
so it's like this where you have to like cook certain things by yourself. Like we have cooks
That's
and
true.
maids and everything, but like the sweet dish, it's like a traditional thing where the sweet dish is made by the wife, stuff like that.
Yes. The counterpoint to everything you're saying, Harsh, is sometimes when the men are talking, the wives bond by cooking. There were certain dishes that my wife was making, even though we were catering. She would get up to make those, and then the other wives at the party, they would be like, "Hey, do you need any help?" And then they would go up and they would bond. And then the men are chilling for a while, the women are chilling for a while, and once the food is done, that's when everyone's chilling together. There's a
Hmm.
dynamic to hosting, man. I don't like doing it, but I'm actually surprised your wife
How
doesn't like doing
long
it.
are you hosting these people for, like to have all this happen?
Let me think. So we started at 7:30 to midnight.
Yeah, that's a long time.
It's a long time, but sometimes you have to do it,
Yeah,
especially in
yeah,
your 30s.
you're right. Like what you're saying makes complete sense. I'm just
Mhm.
lazy about it. Like come to my place, we'll talk for like an hour, then we'll go and eat somewhere. Then you go home, I go home.
Bro, I'm the same. I hate hosting. I would much rather that we meet somewhere and I'll entertain them there. But when they come to my place, there's these little stuff that you notice after you host. One thing that's good, Harsh, is that it makes you more aware to make your place presentable. Let's say there was a part of your house that you haven't cleaned up in a while. When you are expecting guests, it forces you to clean up that place. It's sort of like if you're a single guy and you never have a date, then you'll let yourself go. You'll be fat, you'll have neck hair, you won't look good. But when you have a date, it forces you to polish yourself up and look better. That's the same thing when you have guests over. It forces you to notice these little missing gaps in your living facility and work on it. The second point I learned is
Mm.
yes, the second thing I learned is if you don't drink, if you don't party like that, board games pick up a whole new life. Where when we bring out Ludo, you ever played Ludo before?
Oh yeah, I used to play that as a kid, right?
Yeah. Suddenly this game captures everyone because you're not pre-gaming, you're not doing anything haram. You're just playing a board game. Whereas a kid, you're thinking, oh man, board games, they're lame. But as an adult, it becomes a good way to have fun.
Hey,
The third
Arman,
thing,
is playing poker haram?
if you're gambling, it may be, but if you're not gambling, then it should be fine.
Have you played poker before?
I have not. I'm not that good at card games.
Oh,
Besides
okay.
Uno.
Go on then, go on.
And the third point is you gotta know when to leave someone's house. Because sometimes you guys are enjoying the moment a little too much and you're staying there till one, two, and then the host is like, oh, yawning. And if you don't pick up cues like that, then the host isn't gonna say, hey guys, time to leave. It's up to the guest to suggest when to leave. There's these
Dude,
little etiquettes that you start to pick
I
up.
was at a party, okay, at a friend's place.
Yeah.
And I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking about this, okay? There's like 10 people there. He has this 1 BHK apartment.
Hmm.
And it's like 1 o'clock. And the guy is like, he's trying to get everybody to go away. But no one wants to leave. So he just goes and falls asleep. He's like, I'm gonna get some sleep.
I would have done that if the people didn't leave after a while.
And I know people left at like 4, 5, because they were having fun, right? Like we were called grilling chicken and everything.
Hmm.
And the guy was just done with it. He's like, okay, I'm gonna get some sleep. Why don't you guys have fun? Make sure you close the gate on the way out.
Oh man, that's hilarious. M- Once you hit your 30s, dude, I feel like you'll be doing this more.
What is so special about 30? Like, why is it like once you hit your 30s, everything changes? Like,
I've been thinking about this recently, and I do have a response. So, just to set the scene, in your 20s, you're not necessarily expected to treat people, right? If you do, in your situation where you're 29 and you treat someone, that's a bonus, but people aren't necessarily expecting it out of you. But in your 30s, if you guys are going to eat a couple of times, or let's say it's your friend's birthday and you're not treating them to lunch, you're seen as a cheapskate. Now, the difference between the 20s and 30s is that around your 30s, as a man especially, you're expected to have more resources. You're expected to have somewhat built a life for yourself. So in your 30s, people are expecting you to treat them every now and then because you have more resources in an ideal sense. Same thing with hosting. People are assuming that you have an apartment or a house that you're proud of. Versus in your 20s, they're thinking, man, this guy is probably still living in his mom's basement or he's living in a dorm. It's just a radical shift in perception people have of you in terms of you're just this uh, dreamy eyed kid that's not grounded in reality. Versus in your 30s, people assume you as a man that is grounded in reality.
hmm.
Yeah, that I would say that's the biggest difference. They expect you to have more resources at that point.
It's kind of fair though, right? Because when you're 30, you do at some level should have more resources. But I
Hmm.
do feel bad for people who fucked up their 20s. They didn't actually put in the work and now they're screwed. Because I was recently talking to someone online and the guy, so the thing with my ex is that I let anyone DM me, which means like everybody can DM me, right? Like, you don't need to like pay money or anything. And I was speaking with someone, and his situation was something like this. And this was not like a paid client, right? So it's not like I agreed on privacy or anything. It was like he's like a 32-year-old, and he works at like a retail shop at a gas station, like a petrol pump type station.
Hmm.
They have these shops where they sell like chewing gum and stuff like that. So he works there, and it's like, the fuck are you gonna do? Like 5 years go by, it's not like you've gained any important skills. 5 years go by, you're gonna still continue working at the gas station, right? So you're
Yeah.
kind of screwed.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard to get out of situations like that.
Yeah, it's like, the guy is like, I was mostly partying in my 20s and I was smoking weed and like, come on, man, like you dug your own grave.
Exactly. For them, it becomes tougher because if you don't have too much money in your 30s, it's harder to do certain things as well. Or I don't know about your friend group, but my friend group occasionally will say, "Hey, let's go to this concert." And we all have to shell out 100 bucks. Now, if you're making a good amount of money, you don't necessarily notice the 100 bucks. But let's say you get paid $21 an hour. Now, the first thought that you have is, man, that's like 4 to 5 hours of my day versus let me enjoy the experience. I would say if you don't have a decent amount of money, you start to eventually become more elusive as well. You say no to events more. You actually get annoyed when people invite you to things because now you have to explain to them, "Oh man, I can't do it for X, Y, and Z reasons." It
Yeah, and you
just
can't say it's because I'm broke as fuck. The pride is too much. You have to
Mhm.
come up with a reason.
Some people will tell me, they'll say, "Dude, it's a money issue. I definitely want to go, but I'm just struggling with money right now." And I don't know how to respond back to that. I could give them tips, but at this point, you'll see that they are somewhat fixed in their ways and they don't want tips. They just want to vent to you.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? You can't actually change people after a certain age. Like
Hmm.
maybe like after 15 or 16, your personality starts like getting fully formed and it
Yeah.
ends at like 25. So after 25, it's very difficult to change people.
Yeah. Another thing I've noticed, Harsh, is in your 30s, it seems like this is the central theme of today's episode. Because you're about to actually hit your 30s, you'll start to notice a lot of the stuff I'm talking about. In your 30s, another thing that I've noticed is the whole concept of being handy. Do you know what that means?
No.
Where if something breaks in your house, you are the guy capable of fixing it. And in your 30s, I've noticed that people have different philosophies regarding this. Where some of my friends who fall in two buckets, either they don't make a lot of money or they do make a lot of money, but they don't run a business. They just have a full time job. For these two groups of people, they take a lot of pride in being handy. They'll say, recently my AC broke and I was the one who fixed it. I spent an entire week learning about it, troubleshooting, and I fixed it. And the wife is hyping up the husband, like, yeah, my husband fixed it. And you could tell they have a lot of pride for this. Where my philosophy is,
I would say it's well deserved, right? But go on. Like
yeah, where
I
my
would be proud of that, yes.
I would feel proud of it too, but I'm not going to try to fix an AC. I'm going to hire someone and I will gladly spend 500 bucks on it because it's 500 bucks. I mean, it saves me my time. So that's my philosophy. But these guys often make fun of me because they're like, come on, Armani. I mean, why do you always call people to do it? Why don't you learn how to do it yourself? And my thing is, dude, I could learn how to do it myself. It's not like changing a light bulb is the end of the world. But the thing is, every second that I'm not that I'm over here mowing my own lawn rather than hiring someone, I could be spending that time working on my business. Now, with people that don't make a lot of money, I get it. Let's say you make $21 an hour, spending $500 to fix the AC, that's not something that is financially feasible for you. I get that. What surprises me is when someone makes 130K a year, but they still don't want to hire someone. They want to do it themselves. And that's when I realized these guys, they don't have a business. So for them on a Saturday, when they're mowing their own lawns, they just think, well, what else am I going to do on a Saturday? I might as well just mow my lawn. Or me, as a business owner, I'm thinking, time is money, bro. Every single time that I'm mowing the lawn, I could be writing a book that is an asset that'll eventually pay me money over time. That's one
I'm
thing
going
that
to
you'll
give you
notice.
a counterpoint, okay?
Yeah.
So, like the number you mentioned, right? 130K a year. I make way more than 130K a month, okay? I make way more than that. And if
Hmm.
something breaks, I typically want to fix it myself.
Yeah, if it's
In the
something
sense, I'll
small.
tell you what. I'll tell you
Yeah.
what. I'll give you an example. Okay, like recently my keyboard, right, just stopped working. Like press a key like 5 times,
Yeah.
and it's not doing anything, right? And my keyboard is like it's expensive by keyboard standards, but it's not expensive by my income standards, right? It's like $150 ducky one, two, right? So $150 I could just get a new one. But I spent like an hour like opening up all the screws, and then
Oh,
taking a
I wouldn't
blower
do
and
that.
then like removing all the dust from it, and then like reassembling it, and now it's working fine, right? I
Gotcha.
will say that there's a certain pleasure of doing it yourself. And moreover, the thing is that like it happened once. It took me like an hour and a half, like 2 hours to like figure out. But the next time it happens, it's like a 10-minute thing. I already know how to fix it, right? So I've learned something. So I would say that you are missing out on a lot of learning by outsourcing everything all the time. Now, if there is something that you're sure is going to take like 3 weeks to fix, then it's not worth your time, right? Then it's like, okay, I'm not going to spend 3 weeks learning how to make an AC and like, fix an AC, right? Like that's too much.
Yeah.
But something little breaks, like your car tire is flat. Like, how do you change a tire? That's something you should try and do it yourself.
Man, I hired someone for that, dude. I do agree with you where there is pleasure in doing certain things yourself, having that DIY mindset. I agree with you. I mean, if I have to change my light bulbs, I'll do that. I'm not going to hire someone to do something like that. But let's say something like a bidet. You know what a bidet is?
Yeah.
Would you install that, or
No.
would you hire a plumber to do something like that?
So stuff like this, right? Like the whole toilet stuff, I just find it a little gross to do it myself. I would not do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Where my plumber says he'll charge me $300 to set
It's
up three
fine, man.
bidets. I'm thinking, that's fine. I'm letting my friends know. They're like, dude, why don't you just do it yourself? It'll be so easy to do it. We'll help you. Like, dude, I don't want this to become a whole thing. I would rather just it be a mindless activity on my end. I give the plumber the $300, and now I have three bidets set up.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, right? I'm not against the mindset. I'm just telling you, like, there is like a lot of value in learning these little things, and you never know when you need it, right? Like like my door was creaking a lot, so I took this thing called WD-40, and I put it in all the hinges, and now it doesn't creak at all. Now it runs very smoothly, and that's something you learn, right? Like you just figure out, like, okay, how do we fix a little thing? And there's more to life than making money, right? I don't know how else to put it to you. Like
Yeah.
at some point, right, you're gonna die, and all the money you have is gonna stay here, like on earth, right? I have so
Hmm.
many clients like this, right? There's a guy I know, like who has no children, and like doesn't actually have a wife, and he died, right? Like I know him via a business partner. Like I have a client, and this is the guy's business partner, and he left like 300 like $30 million in like net worth, okay?
Hmm.
And because he has no heirs, like he has no family whatsoever, like completely self-made, right? Like no heirs, nothing. Like what do you do with the money? Like where does it go? Like that's how I ended up in the equation. Like, so what do we do now, right? The guy died, he left all this money in his bank, and like he has these 3 4 cars, and he has these properties in the city. And like, what do you do with it? And he died at like 38 from a heart attack, and he's like this obese guy. And
Really?
this is yeah, and I met this guy once. Like this is the type of guy who wouldn't even give you like 5,000 rupees. Like he was very cheap, and like those like, I don't want to spend ek rupiya bhi nahi kharchunga. I don't want to like give 1 rupee to anybody, right?
Hmm.
And he just died, and all the money he just left it here. So your life experience is more than about like maximizing your financial, like all of these things that you do, right? Like you go for a run, you go for a walk, you fix something. All of that is like a part of your life, and I think it's worth living. And when you like outsource all of it, you are missing out on it. Like, um to give you like another example, let's say you have a kid. I have a friend who's an influencer. Like she's like a celebrity, so she's like a comedian,
Hmm.
and she does these comedy shows, and she's really popular. And she has a kid, but the only time she actually holds the kid is when she has to make a reel for Instagram. Otherwise, the kid is being raised by maids, and she's like, my time is more valuable. The kid is not going to remember all of this, but I can make more money by like doing shows and thinking of jokes, blah blah, content, blah.
Ah.
And it's like, yeah, but like this, raising your kids is like a part of your life, right? It's not just about maximizing money. So that's the same advice I will give to you. Like, there's more to life than like thinking in terms of I can make more money and my time is more valuable.
Yeah,
Because
it's
you are
about.
gonna die with all this money. Like your house is gonna be here when you die. It's not like you can take it up with you. all these things you can build, like you build a table, build a chair, all these are experiences that you should, it's a part of your life that you are missing out on.
Yeah, I would say it's a balance of making more money while also not putting myself in that position because I get it. You as well as my friends, they like building stuff. It makes them feel alive. They say the same stuff you're saying where they say it's a part of just enjoying life. Or for me, when I'm doing that, I'm actually hating the entire process of it. So I'm not someone that enjoys building stuff as much with my hands, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
I do agree with
What,
you
why
though.
do you say that? Like, what bad experiences have you had that make you think that? I have never
I
met a
don't
man who said that. So
no, I mean, I don't mind building certain things where it becomes an asset over time. It builds in value, right? If you tell me to build a house and you teach me how to build a house, I will gladly build that because it could become an asset. But I'll give you an example. Recently, we bought this king size bed. And for this king size bed, you had to install this frame. And for this frame, this supplier, they give us this tiny little wrench, these big metal stuff. A couple of the metal stuff were broken, so I had to actually get my hands involved, open it up physically. My fingers were like kind of, it felt like it was about to bleed. And I was spending so much time, and I'm thinking, why didn't we just spend 60 extra dollars so they would do it for us? Why the heck am I spending my Friday night doing something like this? And I didn't like it. Or some people, they would say, "Man, I felt alive putting that little bed thing together." For a guy like me, I'm thinking, "Man, I would have much rather just watched a movie."
do you, when you were a kid, did you like Lego? Those build Lego build playing blocks. Did you enjoy doing that? Like making stuff
Yeah,
with it?
I did. I enjoyed Legos a lot.
If you had to like make a chair, like if someone would teach you, like your dad or somebody, like how to make a chair with glue and wood and stuff like that that you can sit on, would you enjoy it?
No,
No?
to me, I don't care for that at all. I would enjoy building a YouTube studio. That library that you see, I built that. It really depends, dude. That I'm actually glad you're asking these questions because certain things it either excites me or it doesn't. It's very black and white with me. Or would you be excited to make a chair?
Yes.
You would.
Yeah, I would like to learn how to do it. I might make a few chairs. Now, I don't want to spend my life making chairs, so it's not like I want to make 100 chairs. But yeah, I would love to learn how to make like 3 chairs, 4 chairs, five
What about
chairs.
mowing your lawn? Would you like to mow your lawn?
Mow my lawn. I used to do that as a kid for my uncle who like, so right, I told you, right, like my mom's side is very politically connected, my dad's side is like very like peasant, like poor and stuff like that. And the
Hmm.
only reason my mom and my dad got married, like I used to think it was just caste, but then I asked like later, like after these podcasts, like why exactly did, like grandpa marry you to my dad? And she's like, so like my dad is like educated, right? And my grandpa could have married my mom to like an uneducated rich person, but like she would not have the same life she would, as compared to living with an educated man, even though he did not have as much money. So that was his reason. But anyway, like my mom's side, like they had these lawns and like big properties. So I used to like mow the lawn as a kid, like for just for fun. It gets boring after a certain point, but it's good to know how to do it.
Right. But let's say you have a property and you have a lawn in your backyard that needs ongoing maintenance every month. Would you
Yeah, that
hire
would be a
someone
waste of time. I
$60?
would not have a lawn in my property.
Okay, but if you come here, most
If I
houses
do, I
are
would
going.
hire somebody for this. Yes.
Okay, okay. See, that's my philosophy. For something like that, spend $60 a month, hire someone. Or other people, they're like, you don't mow your own lawn? I mean, or why don't you mow your own lawn? I'm thinking, dude, why would I mow my own lawn?
So the thing is that there's nothing to learn from mowing your own lawn, right? There's no like, it's just like a menial labor task. But where you can learn something, right? Like if you want to fix something and you don't know how to do it, if you know how to do something, then it's fine to outsource it because you're not gonna get anything out of it. But if you
Mm,
don't know how to do something and you can learn it, I think you should take the learning opportunity. So
dude,
if for example, right, with the bidet example, if you know how to install a bidet,
yeah.
and then you don't want to do it and you give it to some contractor, that's fine, right? If you don't know how to do it, it's something you can learn, and I would say learn it.
Dude, I just realized because you were just asking me if anything happened in my childhood that made me like this. It wasn't my childhood. It was when I was 27 and I went to a place called IKEA. You know what IKEA is?
Yep, I like IKEA, like to some extent.
So I went to IKEA and I ordered a bunch of furniture for my new spot. Me and my brother both went. We bought couches, we bought tables, I bought a big bed, everything. And as we're checking out, the guy says, "Would you like for us to install it for you? It'll just be 500 extra bucks." And me and my brother, we laugh. We're like, "No, man, we could do that ourselves." This is when I was 27. So the next week, these IKEA guys come in and they're just dropping off a bunch of these boards, a bunch of these springs, a bunch of these random stuff to our place. And now it's our job to assemble it. Now, I kid you not, bro. For the next weekend and couple of days, that's all I did. I would read these shitty instructions with awful pictures, tiny text, and I would just keep piecing things together. And I was setting up my couch, my tables, and eventually my bed. Setting up my bed took roughly 8 hours or so. And that's when I realized for most of these projects, if you give me some time and you give me YouTube or something, I will figure it out. But after it, I'm just thinking, man, I should have just hired someone because now those days I'm not getting back. That's why
Yeah,
a lot
but
of these
what else would you have done in those days?
men travel somewhere, watch a movie, do something. I mean, I'm just
Watch a
sitting.
movie, right? Like it's not like you are doing anything better. Like this is a good thing to do. This is fun.
You think I don't think it's fun, dude. I'm telling you. Here's the thing: if it's something that I don't think I could do, then it's a challenge. But these stuff, installing a bidet, I don't know how to do it, but I'm pretty sure I could figure it out. So once
Yeah,
I
but you
figure it
can
out,
figure out
I'm not thinking,
anything, with a certain IQ level. I'll give. I understand what you're saying, right? Like, I completely get you. Like, you are not wrong.
yeah,
I will tell you what I'm trying to say, like with like a different example. And I'll tell you what I'm saying in a different way now. Okay,
yeah,
you never actually know when you end up using some knowledge that you gain, and it's good to gain whatever knowledge that you can acquire, right? Like many years ago, right? Many years ago,
hmm,
I did a course on HTML, like in school, like in my like back when I was in like seventh, eighth grade. Okay, in HTML and CSS, and I used to think, like, "Hey, come on, man, like, this is bullshit. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, you have to close all these tags, to remember all this stuff. Like, who cares about this?"
right.
But now, right, I use HTML and CSS like almost every like day, and it helps me like run my websites better, helps them look cleaner. And no, it's like I could have still figured out HTML and CSS as an adult, but
Hmm.
would I have done that? No, I would not have done that by myself. I would have been like, okay, fuck it, let me try to find some Fiverr guy to like make it look good, and now I can just do it by myself, right? So these things that you learn, you never know when you end up using them.
That is true. Where after the whole IKEA thing, I learned how to use certain tools I never had to use before. I'm still not gonna lie though, dude. After that entire IKEA debacle, my philosophy was in the future, if someone asks, "Hey, $500 more to hire someone to assemble it, yes or no?" My
Yes, so the
decision is always
second
yes.
time the answer should be yes. The first time the answer should be no.
Okay, I would agree with that.
Are you getting me now? Like, so
Yeah,
now that you've already learned what is there to be learned from this, there's no need to repeat the experience.
that's fair. That is fair. But with the bidet, for example, I haven't learned how to do a bidet yet, but I'm in that stage of my life where I'll just hire someone to do it.
Yeah, you see, you're not wrong. Like, I would personally, for a video, I would also do the same thing. I'm
Another
just telling
thing,
you
dude.
in general. In
Yeah.
general, like, try to do things yourself.
Yeah. Another thing though is people assume for my thing where I hire people to do it that I'm not building any skills. I'm actually building a lot of skills in terms of negotiating. Where with my super handy friends, they don't know how to talk to contractors properly. For example, if a contractor says it'll cost you $5,000 to redo your countertops to granite, that's what they take at face value. For a guy like me, I'm gonna bring it down to let's say 3,500 to at least $4,200. And I know how to communicate my message in a way where the other person is eager to give me that deal. Where my overly handy friends, they don't have
I
the
think that's
confidence
just
to
your
negotiate.
Indian DNA doing it for you.
Yeah. No, because my one of my super handy friends, he's like, Arman, I got my floors redone for $6,000. Can you believe it? I thought $6,000, dude. You did upstairs, downstairs, and oh no, you just did one floor. You just did your downstairs. Or I got my upstairs, downstairs, the stairs, everything done for 42K. So how did I spend less than you um when you barely even did anything? And that's when I saw that this guy couldn't negotiate.
Dude, white people suck at negotiating.
He's brown.
Oh, fuck that guy then. Bringing shame to our name. Where is he from?
um Bangladesh.
Ah, okay. I don't know, man. Like Indians will not pay anything. They will like get like five contractors, find out the lowest rate, and Indians don't want to pay a single penny to anybody unnecessarily. So
My thing
it's
is
not bad.
I'm not going to be Indian cheap. Where Indians here are known to be the bottom of the barrel of cheapness. Where I'm not that type of cheap. My cheap is, I wouldn't even say I'm cheap. I would say let's both win.
Resourceful.
I know you're initially saying $5,000. I know for a fact you don't even think you're going to get that $5,000. How about we go to 4,000? The guy says 4,000's a little too low, and he mathematically breaks it down. He'll say the labor is going to cost this much, the supplies cost this much. He's breaking it down for me. He's making it make sense, and then we'll agree on 4,300. So I saved $700, and I think that's a deal. I'm not, but Indian cheap, they'll try to go for $2,500. I'm like, dude, no one is going to drop that much money just so you get a service. And not gonna lie, dude, a lot of the Indians bring bad names for a guy like me, where contractors, they'll look at me and they'll say, "Ah, man, is he gonna be Indian cheap?" And then they see that I'm not Indian cheap. I'm just a guy that's looking for a good deal, and I'm easier to work with.
Dude, I'm telling you, Indian people are just like really hard to work with. Like the way like to do it is to like for if you want to charge like $5,000, right? And you see an Indian guy, you start for $10,000. Then he
Mhm.
brings you down to 4,000, and that's an acceptable price. Like he's
Yeah.
happy, you're happy. This isn't like your blood, okay? Like I'm not even joking. Recently, I bought something. I don't remember. It was some kind of trinket, like some stupid shit. It was like 300 rupees, okay?
Mhm.
And I was like, let's do 250. And the guy was like, okay, let's do 250. And I felt bad about it for the rest of the day. I'm like, I should have said 200. Like he agreed in one try.
Yeah.
If he had
You gotta learn how to
resisted,
fight back
like
a
that
little bit.
250 is too much, too little, I gotta go to at least 280 or something. And
Yeah.
then we would have met at 260. I would have been happier than him just saying, okay, 250 is fine, because then I know I overpaid.
Yes, that's why I don't like that subjectivity with certain fields. For example, buying a car, I really wish there was just one set price on it where you can't negotiate so much.
Dude, negotiation is a good skill. My wife is
Mhm,
really good at it. Like, I'm not that good at it. I'm like, I'm fine. You're like, for these cheap shit, the way I think is that,
mhm.
okay, like, it's like an extra $3. Who cares? Like, my wife is like, it's a three. We're not paying extra. Like, we want to pay the least amount of money possible. So my wife is really, really good at haggling. I'm not that good.
Mm. You're probably good with haggling on the big stuff, not the little stuff.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth the time to haggle on the little stuff. But my wife, she will like, she's really good at it. Like she can like spend 10 minutes and like get. So I was recently in Kashmir. Okay, you know what Kashmir is? Like it's a
I've
place in
heard of it.
India, like, the highest state there, right?
Hmm.
And in Kashmir, there was this guy who was selling like rugs and what's the word? The shawl, right? He's selling these shawls and he's selling them to a tourist. Okay, and at first he's like, 2,000 rupees ka, 2,000 rupees, like 2,000 rupees. Okay, and the tourist is like totally ignoring him and just walking by. He- So he's like constantly dropping the price, like 1,500, thousand. And like the price like literally dropped from 2000 to 200 rupees. And the tourist bought the shawl for 200 rupees. And I'm there like watching in awe, like the guy was initially asking for 2000 rupees and now he's selling it for 200 rupees. So for these street type items, it's just like, the price is like completely random. They look at your face and try to determine, what can you pay. And
Yeah.
that's how they give you a code.
Hmm. My pet peeve is when a rich guy is haggling too much. For example, when an American goes to India and he's trying to haggle, I'm thinking, dude, just pay the money. You operate in dollars, just pay the money.
No, man. So see, you are right when you think of it, like like all these Indians are poor, and we're making all this money. But if it was like a small street vendor for like food and everything, I would agree. But
Yeah.
for clothes and bags, they are trying to scam you, right? Something they
Yeah.
will sell for like 200 rupees will be sold for like 3,000 to a foreigner, like insane.
Yeah, not clothes and bags. I'm talking about these little drinks. Sometimes an American will go to these street food places and say, "Hey, how much for this?" And they'll say, "I don't know, 30 rupees," and they'll say, "Oh, make it 5 rupees."
Yeah, that's too much. So with these like little food places, right? They have these printed rates, and you got to pay the printed rate. Like there'll be like a menu card and stuff. There's no
Mhm.
point haggling there. But if you're buying like a watch or like something right from the street, or you buy like a bag from the street, I can guarantee that they're charging you like 5 to 10 times more, and you should always like start at 10% of what you've been quoted. Like 5,000, how about like 300 rupees? 300 rupees, 300 rupees, right?
Man,
And you will get it back sometime.
When I go to India, you're gonna be my tour guide.
For sure, man. Come here.
I need I need a local there. Otherwise, I'll probably get scammed.
You will not get scammed because you don't look white.
Yeah, but what you just said with the clothes and the watch, that's a smart point that only a local would know.
Yeah, man. Like a local, see, with these like street shops, right? Like only poor Indians buy from there and tourists buy from there. I don't know why. Like I have never understood this. But
Man,
white tourists are insane. Like they go to places where locals will not step into. So there's like a slum in the city, right?
mhm.
And like locals will just like walk through this. Locals will avoid the slum. They will never step into it. But tourists will like try to cross it like by going through it. And they will plan it as a day. Today we're gonna go through the slum. Like the fuck is wrong with you? You
Because
might get killed over there.
they want that full on experience. I'm the same way, man. If I would go to Bangladesh, I don't want to eat at McDonald's or something that I could get in the US. I want to eat the
Dude, this is
street
like,
food.
going to Mexico and being like, yeah, I'm gonna go into this cartel infested area and walk.
That's a good point.
The locals don't go to this cartel infested area, but I,
Yeah,
rich American white man, I can go through this. Like,
I'm
come on,
actually going to
man. Like,
Mexico soon.
yeah, don't go to the cartel areas, man.
No, I'm not definitely not doing that. Bro, when I went to Mexico last time, I felt like a giant. These people are so little there and you just stick out.
Hmm.
Have you
Is it?
been to Mexico?
I have never been to Mexico, no.
I wonder what the average size is in Mexico. Hold on. Average height for men in Mexico. 5 foot 7 inches for men. Hold on. 5 foot 2 inches for women in Mexico. Because if you're over 5'10" and you're walking around the streets of Mexico, you're just towering over everyone. You're just looking at the top of people's heads. For some reason, I thought Mexicans were bigger.
I
The
have
cool
no
thing,
idea actually.
what?
Like I think that they've been like interbred. They're like the breeding between Spanish people and the local indigenous people of America, right?
Yeah. What about Trinis? Have you ever been to Trinidad?
No, where is it?
Trinidad is an island, but from what I heard, the history of it is that way back in the days, they got guys from India and they brought them as slaves to Trinidad. And that's how the entire Trini people. I actually don't know the history of it, but I do know that a lot of Trini people look like Indians. And if you go to them and you ask, "Hey, are you Indian?" they get somewhat offended by that question because they are Trini, but they're sort of Indian and they've battled with their identity for a long time. You'll see that they're a blend of these Caribbean people, but they have a lot of Indian traditions as well.
I'm having a
Trinidad
look
and
at these
Tobago.
Trinidad people. Okay, they don't look that Indian actually. Some of them do, not all of them. Let me share my screen
Type in Trinidad Indian.
because I'm searching for Trinidad people. Like, this chick
No,
does
no,
not
no, no,
look
no, not that. So people either look really black or really Indian. Type in Trinidad Indian.
Indian. This one looks Indian.
No, go up. Yeah, yeah, that one does. Like that second group, that second picture. These people are Trini people, but they look Indian.
Somewhat. This guy in the middle looks Indian. This one, I mean, I would not want him to be an Indian.
Oh my
Neither
god.
with this one. Like, let's not like. She's not Indian, okay? Like, come on, man. Like, this is this is like blasphemy. How do you even eat this much? Yeah, this stuff
Trini.
doesn't like. This is
So
like
Harsh,
this
listen,
stuff kind of
Harsh, listen
seems.
to this real quick. Trini people, often known as Indo-Trinidadians, often appear to have Indian features because a significant portion of their ancestry stems from indentured laborers who migrated from India to Trinidad and Tobago during the colonial era.
Hmm. I think a lot of like even Maldives is like that, is it not?
I think so. Same with Jamaicans, dude. At certain parts of Jamaica, if you go there, they look straight up Indian.
Is it?
Yeah.
All this like colonialism and all of these things, they like spread populations to like absurd places like Africans in America.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just like it totally changed how the world looks like.
That's true. And it also has people questioning their identity years later. So here, if you're, let's say, someone from Guyana and you're dating someone that's Indian, the kids may accept one another, but the parents often don't accept one another. So the parents of the Indian boy will look at the Guyanese girl and say, "You're not really one of us. You're one of the Caribbean people, but you're not true Indian."
True. Dude, this happens to a lot of Indians who like grow up abroad where
Hmm.
the Indians are like, come on, man, fuck off. You're not Indian. Like, you just look Indian, but you're not Indian. You don't have the Indian heart and Indian soul, like the Indian culture, our way of thinking, our way of life.
Hmm.
And, they don't entirely feel like Western either. So they're like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And I have no idea how they deal with it. But personally, I take a lot of pride in my own culture. Like I know my descendants and, where I've come from, blah, blah, blah. And, like I take a lot of pride in the achievements of my people, and I think it helps increase my self-confidence a lot. So it's important, man, like to not know who your people are, know where you've come from, your own history. No idea how people live through that. It kind of makes them confused. So I have a friend who's an Indian, but her dad, right,
Right.
her
Right.
dad like worked a job in the Middle East. So, she spent like a few years living in Saudi, she spent a few years living in Dubai, a few years in Oman, and like, it was like a traveling circus. And she was in India for a few years, and she's like, I have no place where I'm from here. I don't feel like I'm like an Indian or like anything. Or And now she's in the US doing some masters, and she never feels like she belongs anywhere, so she does random stuff. And I think that you need to have a strong cultural identity rooted within you, and lacking that is just gonna like confuse you as an adult.
Yeah, that's true. And even if it doesn't confuse you, it may confuse others around you, especially when you're trying to get married.
Yeah, man. I don't think this girl would have like an arranged marriage. Like it would be impossible because no family would accept someone like this, where she herself isn't sure what she is. So a
Yeah.
love marriage will work, but you're transferring on this lost identity to your children.
Yeah, but what'll happen is if they come to the US, white men will give them a lot of attention. And white
Yeah, but
men here are
that's
some of the
not
most
for white.
accepting people. Yeah. They don't care if you're lost or whatever, because for them, they'll take you the way that you are.
I would say for white men, right? Like it's like their entire civilization has been cocked with this whole politically correct movement and everything. They're the only people who do this, right? They're the least racist people, right? The least racist people are white people. Like everywhere else, like you have racism. You go to China, there's racism. India, racism everywhere, right? Like tribalism. Let's use the word tribalism, except white people. So good on them, but you know, it's like they're lost in a certain way. Their entire population is falling. The white men are marrying like Chinese women, Indian women, blah blah blah. And we might not actually have white people left after a few generations.
Maybe. Well, one thing I've noticed last year, Harsh, was that some Bengali girls were marrying white guys. And it happened, I would say, 3 or 4 times last year. And each of the weddings, the white guy went into the Bengali styled wedding rather than the other way around, where the Bengali girl did the American wedding. Each time the white guy did the Bengali wedding. So he would wear the Punjabi, he would do the entire ceremony, the holud, etc. And I thought, man, these guys are so open. Where,
Cocked. The word is cocked.
where I don't know if Bengali men would do something like that.
Dude, white people. So I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they're cocked. Like, I know quite a few white men who are married to Indian women, right? These guys are like very cocked. Like they have all these like leftist like opinions and like stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
And Indian women are very manipulative. Like I know Indian women, right? Like I've dealt with it. So they like manipulate these white guys, like, yeah, honey, like I'm gonna do that for you. And but like for the white guy, also I also see that it's like a better deal than the white woman. Like with white woman, like like I can totally see why this guy doesn't want to marry like a white woman. Like I can see it, having met a lot of white
Here's
women.
something else I've noticed. I don't know if I shared this story before, but white men, if they're a six in the white community, they become a nine or a 10 whenever they transfer
Bottom,
themselves into the,
exactly.
yeah, the Asian or the brown community.
It's because they're rich.
Not only the rich dude, I think it's also something about their features. Where when I used to throw a college party a while back, there was this guy named Chris. I would say a six max whenever he's hanging out with other white people. But whenever I would bring him to one of our Desi parties, suddenly all the girls are like, "Oh my god, Arman, aren't you gonna introduce me to your friend?" Thinking, Chris? He's a six. They're like, no, he's the it guy in this party because he's the only white guy surrounded by a bunch of brown guys. And suddenly he just takes it up. And so where before with white girls, he could barely pull anyone. In this brown party, he could pull the most attractive brown girl if he wanted to.
Truth. There's a lot of truth to this, and it has, in my opinion, right? Like our countries, they've been like captured by white people for like hundreds of years, right? So at some subconscious level, like people consider white people to be superior to like the regular people of that area, like, so that's why they think these guys are better. And the women do it subconsciously too. Like an Indian woman will think a white guy is better than the Indian man, like he's white, he's superior to these people. So it's there subconsciously. That's why they do it, I think.
Yeah, man. It's not even something that they're thinking about. It's something that you could just see it's happening subconsciously.
That's true. That's 100% true. Like
Mm.
in women, like from different cultures, they will simp really hard for white men.
It's hilarious because sometimes the people within the culture are disrespecting the woman within the culture, but when someone else comes from the outside and takes their woman, now they're like, who does this guy think he is? So a
Yeah,
lot of
see,
the
that's like tribalism, right? Like at some
yeah,
level, you're like, that's our woman, like she's supposed to make like our children, not like foreigner children. We can't lose an asset.
yeah. Where last year when those Bengali girls were marrying the white guys, those Bengali girls before were dating Bengali guys, but a lot of the Bengali guys were doing them wrong. So eventually the Bengali girls were like, no, you know what? I'm just gonna go outside my race this time. So they eventually get a white guy. Now those same Bengali guys are like, "Oh man, what's up with her? Yeah, is he going to treat our queen correctly?" I'm thinking, "Queen? What are you talking about?"
But I also like understand the girl's perspective, like for her, this is like exotic material, who doesn't want exotic material?
Yeah, exactly. Where a lot of the previous Bengali guys were like, "Hey, I need you to stay home. I need you to cook. I need you to do X, Y, and Z." Where the white guys like, "You do you. You be a boss, babe." So that guy's way more open than the Bengali guy was.
You know what? Like my humorous take on the stuff is that when you are like a white guy, right? Anybody you marry, the kids will be not white. So think of it like this: like you're a white guy and you marry an Indian girl, your kids will be Indian. Like in my mind, like you increase Indian people in the world. You are an Indian guy and you marry a white girl, your kids will be Indian. So to have more white people, you gotta have like two white parents. But to have more Indians, just one Indian is enough. Are you getting me?
I do get you. So JD Vance, the vice president of US, you would consider his kids more Indian than more white because
I don't know.
he's married to an Indian woman.
Yeah, I would consider his kids to be like more Indian than white. Largely because you know what, like I think that Indian genes, like the way the facial structure and all of that thing, it's more dominant than like everybody else, except maybe black people. So when you have like a kid with an Indian and like a white person, the kid ends up looking Indian.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Obama is like a mixed guy, right? Like he has like a white one parent is white, the other parent is black, but he
Right.
looks like 100% black.
Yeah, he does.
So the black genetics is like more dominant than the white genetics.
That's true. You do have a good point there. Um, yeah, I wonder what the future holds because nowadays people, I would say in 2014, like, marrying within your culture was seen as a big thing. Nowadays, it's not seen as that big of a thing. When people found out, Harsh, that I married a Bengali, my cousins from overseas, they were shocked. Like, Arman, I'm still shocked that you married a Bengali. I asked why. They said, dude, you live in the US. For some reason, we thought you were going to get with an American this whole time. So they were shocked that I got with the Bengali.
Dude, good on you, man. I'm really happy that you married in your culture. It has so many advantages like that you don't realize because you think the same way, you have like the same goals for the future for your children, blah blah. Like I have a client, right? And
Hmm.
this client of mine, he's married to a white girl and he wants his son to become a doctor. And the white girl is like, no, that's too much studying. My son is gonna become a singer or a dancer. He's gonna do whatever he wants. And the
Hmm.
guy is like, no, no, he's gonna become a doctor. So I think that you have like two parents of the same race, at least the same culture. It doesn't have to be the same race, but the same culture. It's like better for long term planning.
Absolutely, man. It's one of those things that I've always wanted. I never articulated it out loud, but I knew I always wanted a Bengali girl.
Hmm. I think that you made a smart decision.
Yeah, and it's the small things, man. When you're planning for a wedding, if you're in the same culture, it's easier to plan later on how you're going to raise your kids. Easier if it's the same religion. Even when the in-laws are getting together, if everyone speaks the same language, things just flow smoother than if one person can speak that language, the other people they speak English. Now there's a lot of this distorted, broken English going around. It makes a huge difference. That's why I'm happy with my decision.
Dude, so I was listening to the story about the Sindhi guy. Okay, so no wait, the girl is Sindhi. So you know what a Sindhi person is, right? Like someone. like from some Sindhi religion. I don't know what the name of the religion is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so basically, the people are called Sindhi, okay? And the guy is like a Hindu, okay? So the guy is Hindu and the girl is Sindhi, and they've been in a relationship for like 8, 9 years now. And the reason they broke up is that the guy, like, they were discussing, like what religion would the kids follow. And the girl is like, they're gonna be like, they are Sikh, right? The kids are gonna be Sikh. And the guy's like, no, the kids are gonna be Hindu. And they broke up.
Oh man. Didn't Sikhism come from Hinduism, or am I completely off with that one?
I'm not sure actually. I think it's like an offshoot of Hinduism that like
Oh,
became completely different, but I'm not
okay.
sure. I think that a lot of Sikhs would not consider themselves Hindus, but a lot of Hindus would consider Sikhs to be Hindus.
There's Jainism as well,
Yeah,
Sikhism.
Hinduism is like, like all Hindus, if you ask a Hindu, right, like a Buddhist would be a Hindu, a Jain would be a Hindu, a Sikh would be a Hindu. But you ask a Jain, he's like, are you a Hindu? Like, no, I'm not a Hindu, I'm a
Yeah,
Jain.
I'm a Jain. Yeah. So one of my Hindu friends was trying to say that Hinduism is a lot like blockchain, where everything's decentralized. There's no central
Exactly.
leader. Is that true?
Yeah, he's right. That's how it is.
Okay. Interesting. That's a good way to think about it. Because
Blockchain, it's more like, it doesn't there are no known founders, like we don't know where what text came from. It seems to have like organically developed over time, as
hmm
opposed to like most modern religions. They have like a founder, like Jesus or like Muhammad or Buddha or like Mahavir Jain or like someone or the other. There's
yeah,
like one central teacher.
I'm like reading this book called Autobiography of a Yogi. Have you ever heard of it?
I have heard good things about it from a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think it's a cool thing, but there's like a type of yoga he talks about. I believe it's called Kriya Yoga, where other Hindus are like, "Oh man, we don't do the Kriya Yoga thing." So apparently, not all Hindus agree with his teachings, from what I'm hearing.
Hmm.
No, it's pretty cool because I never knew about this. I'm reading this book because I don't know if you know this, Harsh, but when Steve Jobs was gonna pass away, he had this one final ceremony, and for everyone that attended the ceremony, he gave them this book, and he would read this book once a year. It made that much of an impact on him. That's why I thought, let me just go ahead and check it out. I'm in the beginning stages right now. Uh, it's a little boring in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie, but everyone says keep reading it; it gets better.
Have you noticed that a lot of books are like this, where they suck in the beginning, but once you get through like the first 30, 40 pages, it gets better?
Yeah, it's so boring right now, dude. Where I'm thinking, oh man, I really don't want to read it. But if you read the reviews, everyone is saying, man, this book completely transformed the way that I think, and that's why I'm giving it a chance. Still,
How many pages is it?
a lot of pages, dude. Uh, 546 plus.
So about like 20 days of reading if you read 30 pages a day, right? Doable.
I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Arman, do you want to continue the podcast because you're gonna get thirstier now? It's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, we could end the podcast and then carry up within a couple of weeks.
Yeah, sounds good, brother. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Sorry, guys, this podcast has to be short because Arman is out of water. I mean, he can't have water right now. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see you guys in like a few weeks and have a great time, my friends.
Sounds good. Take care.
Bye.